Welcome to the demo class, people. So yes, I say I will just take one of card topic from the syllabus, probable syllabus of history of architecture. So generally, history of architecture, we have all the things that cover from ancient. So when we were not a civilized society, then civilized society, then our civilizations, then Greek architecture, Roman architecture. There's a lot of that, and then we also come to modern architecture recently. So in a lot of exams, a lot of questions are on modern architecture and the architects and their works and what kind of changes or evolution modern architecture has gone through, etc., etc. So I thought this is something that everybody will be able to relate to, and something that we all know and work around instead of something which is very primitive, right? So let's have a look, a short and sweet look, and give you a hint of how the classes will be. So industrial revolution and architecture. So if you understand the timeline of industrial revolution, somewhere around 1740s and 1760s is where industrial revolution hit the world. And then it not just influenced the way we lived or the kind of lifestyle or the kind of occupations people followed, but it also influenced every other thing that was related to human beings. So architecture, the way we built, the way we lived, way we traveled, everything, the way we looked at art, all of that was different. It also the industrial revolution led it can be said that it also led to a lot of internal and world level conflicts as well. So yes, industrial revolution has a lot of influence on architecture and how material availability made a difference in how architecture evolved. Okay, so industrial revolution, if you look at the timeline, 1760s to 1840s. Also, I'm so sorry. I think I forgot my introduction and I just started telling everybody. Can I take a pause and introduce? So yes, I'm so sorry. I got carried away. I am Avni. I am an architect and environment planner. And yes, it's been 7 years, almost 8 years that I've been working in the field with different organizations, government and private. So yes, I'm from Manit as a bachelor and SPA Delhi as masters. So yes, this is who I am, and I love history and taking history lectures. Okay, let's get back to where we were. So industrial revolution, if you look at the timeline, 1760s to 1840s, as we say that industrial revolution was growing. Now, what it led to was the mass production of three very important materials: iron, glass, and steel. So it wasn't like we did not know these materials existed, but we did not know how they could be mass produced and utilized in the different ways that it did after industrial revolution. So now we had industries, we had these materials which were easily available, and in a very large quantity as well. So we had more opportunity to utilize them in different ways. They were more easily accessible. So there was more possibility for exploration. And that is what led to breaking the stagnation of classical architecture, which was the stone, brick, and all different kinds of stones and brick. And we moved on to these modern materials, iron, glass, and steel. Right? So industrial revolution is said to begin in England, and it led to the mass urbanization that we also witness today. So when people found out that something like in working in an industry can give you a regular payment, can probably industries were also sometimes providing you accommodations to live in, and basic facilities, not very high quality, but at least basic facilities. People thought that depending on agriculture, which is slightly more dynamic than something like working in an industry, which is more regular and monotonous, they made a switch. So people who were even basically skilled started moving to working into factories, then practicing agriculture. This led to people moving from countryside or villages to cities where these industries were based. Right? So the migration began. And because we did not understand the consequences of producing these materials on a very large quantity, we also saw a lot of pollution, not just air pollution, but water pollution. You must have, if you have seen all those Netflix series which show you the timeline of older London and older England and all of that, you must have seen that London fire and Thames ka pollution is highlighted or comes into picture because these were some major events that happened in the history of that particular country. So it led to, this was all because of this, right? Ye jo, all of the things that we were seeing these were uh, these were basically a result of what industrial revolution was. So mass production, availability of new building material allowed people to experiment much more and led to the shift into architecture. Now, every time there is something new that happens, there is also counter movement that comes in, right? So if you remember when machines took over in textile industries, there were huge protests saying then why are humans required, and it will help, it will we will lose our jobs. And so there, if there is a big revolutionary change, like even today when AI is coming, people are feeling that it is a threat to their jobs, right? So this is anything big or revolutionary that happens also has a counter effect and a counter movement which is against it. So industrial revolution also had a movement which was against it, which are probably art and crafts movement, which then evolved into art nouveau movement, right? So art and crafts movement was majorly saying that these materials, even if they are more, they can be used in different ways, they're available, they're easy, all of that is okay, but they are going to take away the uniqueness of something which is built with hand, which is thought and designed over a period of time and not just born out of some sort of a mold, right? So they were, so this is what arts and craft movement stood for. And later on, when it evolved into Art Nouveau, they accepted that, okay, we will have to develop with time and we'll have to accept these new materials. But the older design aspect or the creativity which was there earlier should be incorporated with this new material and should not totally go away. So Art Nouveau was a new kind of art movement. Nouveau means novel or new, which meant that, okay, we are accepting the new material, but we don't want to get lost in the kind of monotony of the new material and the kind of usage that it is seeing. We want to keep the art or the uniqueness in it alive, right? So this is what the beginning looked like. And when this material came in, so if you look at the picture of Crystal Palace, London, it was this particular building was not particularly a structure to be used. It was an exhibit at a exhibition. So जैसे we have art expos and trade expos and auto expos, तो जो architecture expos होते थे in different cities, उसमें exhibit के तौर पे रखा था that this is the kind of structures that you can build with the new material that's there around. So Joseph Paxton was the designer or the person behind Crystal Palace because it was such a what do you say, eye-opening sort of or a new kind of a building design. After even after the expo was over, they kept Crystal Palace wherever it was, and a, a lot of time later they demolished it. But yes, it stayed for way beyond the expo was supposed to. So right, so this is the kind of newness that came into scene. And of course, we are thankful to Industrial Revolution because the kind of development that we see in our urbanization and cities is a lot because of Industrial Revolution. The kind of money that we have in circulation, the kind of structures that we've been able to it, all these high-rise structures that uh, we are working in and living in and day out are all thanks to Industrial Revolution and the new material. So something like a Golden Gate Bridge was not possible if we were still relying on stone and bricks because the long spans are not possible with that kind of material. Eiffel Tower was another exhibit. It was not meant to be this forever kind of a structure. Okay, so it was also an exhibit sort of a thing. It was and then it became a landmark, right? And now they have a restaurant on top of it and everything. So yes, these are all examples of how Industrial Revolution led to a sort of a change or an influence on architecture. So yes, we go on covering small topics and we try and discuss a few questions after every few slides so that we're able to revise and also see that, okay, whatever we have learned, we have understood. So there will be checkpoints in between, which where you will have 2 to 3 or maybe 4, 5 questions, which will be related to the topic that we just discussed. And then we'll go forward like that. Okay. And then if we feel that we are stuck at a checkpoint, we go back to the information. When we feel satisfied, that is when we go ahead. Okay. Also, I'm good with Hindi, English both. So if you feel in the actual lectures that there needs to be a mix of language, that will be taken care of. Don't worry about sub English में पढ़ा रहे, ठीक है? So that's not a problem. Okay, so yes, like the main materials in construction of Crystal Palace, Hydro Park, London in 1851 were, right? So this is a question that came in Deputy and Assistant Architect Examination 2016, right? So older previous year question papers are also discussed within the lecture. So now if you have seen the picture that I had put up, and it is called Crystal Palace. So something it has to do with the glass. So cast iron and glass, because we are talking about industrial revolution, the prototype structure. So it has to be something which is iron, steel, or glass. So steel and glass, yeah, cast iron and glass can be the only options. Cast iron and glass is what Crystal Palace was made of. Then the architecture of classical architecture is written by, so questions that have come in previous years that will, so 2023 question paper probably will also be discussed. So these are the kind of questions of previous years that we will keep discussing in between the topic. Okay, going ahead with another, so modern art and architecture. So like I said, architecture is not something that can be dealt with or looked at in a silo. Architecture is also a reflection of how we are, who we are as a society, what is our current technological developmental stage. So when we had 3D printing, so everything that happens in the technological side of the world, technical side, all of that is adopted and that influences architecture. So something like art, which has so much relation with the society, was also influencing architecture in a big way, right? Art is always the expression of how people feel, how the society is, what is the stage or what is the lifestyle of people in a certain area. All of that is reflected in art, and that also influences architecture in a way. So, architecture may be whatever movements came in arts, paintings and sculpting, these arts also undergo a lot of movements and changes. उनमें भी मटेरियल चेंज होता है, उनमें भी पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज होता है, एक्सप्रेशन का तरीका चेंज होता है. All of that changes, and that also influenced architecture. So the when we had more abstractness in the in paintings, or we had more जैसे पिकासो का स्टाइल अलग था. So the way he painted, very, straight or very cutthroat sort of a designing or way of painting, or a more floral or more pastel or more expressive or realistic sort of painting, way of painting. All of that influences how architecture and facades and interiors also change according to that. So if you look at the first structure in the Art Nouveau movement, like I said, it was taking into consideration that, okay, the new material should be taken in, accepted, but the older charm of the buildings should also remain, right? So in all the three structures, you will see that they are using glass and they are using iron, okay, but they're not letting go of the creativity in the facade or in the overall structure of the building, right? So we have brick and stone usage, we have the kind of painting or the decorated facades, we have decorative balconies, all of that is present, but the new material is accepted and incorporated. So Art Nouveau was more popular in USA and Europe, and it featured elements of nature in stylized forms. So naturally influenced and very stylized. So if you look at the first Majolika House picture in Vienna, the facade, it's like a infinitely, so it's a repetitive pattern, but it looks like a wallpaper, basically, when you have wallpapers in your home. So that kind of a art related or painting looking facade, right? So that is what it Art Nouveau actually stood for. So dynamism, asymmetry, flowy designs, naturally influenced design, and a lot of use of the new material that was available. This particular movement was at its peak when the World War One hit. So you will also see that modern architecture went through a lot when World War hit, right? World War also is a big theme for a society. It's not easy on any, it's when, even if you are a participant of the World War or if you're not participant, it if affects you in some way or the other. So there is a lack of food. There are basically supply of resources becomes very scarce. All your energies are dedicated into towards the war. People, families are losing their loved ones. So it's a in general very difficult time. And at that time, the angst or the sadness or the kind of stagnancy that comes into the society, the continuous horror of being under a war, we had a short trailer of what a war can look like, and that was extremely stressful. So imagine for years, for 3 4 years continuously, if your country is undergoing that stress, the way so children are not able to go to school, people are struggling for day-to-day things, that makes the society very very sad and angry. And that reflected in architecture as well in in the years post war. सो पोस्ट वॉर इयर्स में आप देखोगे कि सोसाइटी में डेवलप होने का वापस टू स्प्रिंग बैक ऑल्सो, there is a feeling that we need to get back on our feet faster. So there is one feeling of that, and then there is one feeling of what the f happened. So that these are contradictory or kind of feelings that the society goes through, and that has an impact on architecture, which we'll see as we go ahead. कि ये जो prefabricated architecture कि जल्दी जल्दी बनाओ, we need to get back on our feet faster, or make something with lighter materials, even if it's destroyed there is lesser loss of life and property. So all of these things are a result of the war that the society undergoes. So yes, this particular movement was at its peak when World War hit, and then there came a pause and things changed post the First World War again, and specifically in the countries which were a participant of the First World War. Then, so if we discuss architects that were related to this particular movement, Victor Horta. So he is the father of Art Nouveau. If you look at all the pictures that I've put up on the slide, very delicate, very light colors, golden, very, very, very delicate kind of a vegetal winery sort of a design. If you have seen grape wines or uh, uh, slight delicate creepers, they look like that. So the all of those vegetal and ornamental and flowers and all of this nature inspired design was his theme, right? And this all of this was allowed, or he could design things like that with such a glass dome sort of a thing, because he had the new material in his hand, right? So even if the external looks very classical, the internal is very, very modern, right? And that is what Art Nouveau stands for. So curvy floral vegetative themes, open floor plans, because your new material allowed you to have that thing. You do not need it, you did not need those sturdy solid columns, you had more lighter material at hand. So yeah, all of this. So a lot of his own house, a few hotels that he designed are all UNESCO World Heritage Sites and boutique hotels. So Tassel House in Brussels is a boutique hotel now, because it was a very well designed pretty residence. Okay. Another example is Antoni Gaudi. Antoni Gaudi, we all know him for Sagrada Familia. He dedicated his entire life to Sagrada Familia, and that was his one dream project. Sadly, he could not see it completely, so he passed away before it finished. But yes, that was his way of working. So he spent most of his life in Barcelona, and his idea was also very vegetal, very decorative, floral, nature inspired, all of that. So that was his idea as well, Antoni Gaudi. Then there are other people also who were involved with Art Nouveau. We have Charles René Mackintosh, Hector Guimard, Paul Hanker. If you look at the Hanker house also, the kind of Roman uh, decoration, fresco-like painting on the facade, all of that talks about new and old commixture. Okay, so these are all other examples as well. Then a few more questions. So Antoni Gaudi's architecture is an example of organic shapes. He was also working with organic shapes. Red House by William Morris. William Morris was another person who was involved with Art Nouveau and Industrial Revolution and the movements that came after that. So Red House is also a arts and crafts movement. William Morris basically was a very diverse sort of a guy. वो वॉलपेपर्स से लेके फर्नीचर से लेके घर से लेके बहुत ही वेरिड फर्म काम करती थी उनकी. So he was a guy interested in all sorts of art forms, if you can say. तो वो बहुत उन्होंने बहुत contribute किया है to art and architecture in general. So ये जो बहुत सारे जो wallpapers आप घर में देखते हो ना, सारे ऐसे ना rich areas where elite people were living, who had money to pay him to do these experiments. So furniture and wallpaper and even the kind of even cutlery at times, he was interested in a lot of varied forms of art. So yes, a few questions like this related to the topic and everything. So another movement that was in parallel to arts and crafts was Moof Art movement. Moof Art movement was also uh, something that was classical in style, incorporating newness, but it focused on public buildings. So ये जो सारा, if you look at all the public buildings, one purpose behind building this tangible sort of infrastructure is that the current government, whoever is in power, only has infrastructure as a big avenue through which it can show its dominance and tangible or measurable work. ठीक है? तो करंटली भी जब भी whenever there is an election, आप देखोगे कि रोड बन जाएगी, ब्रिज बन जाएंगे, ट्रांसपोर्ट इजी हो जाएगा और मेट्रो बना देंगे. दीज आर मेजर प्रोजेक्ट्स जिन पे गवर्नमेंट्स अपने इलेक्शन मैनिफेस्टोज और अपने इलेक्शन कैंपेन्स बेस करते. बहुत कम पोर्शन कैंपेनिंग का होता है कि ओ आपको जॉब मिल जाएगा, क्योंकि जॉब ना इजी नहीं होता और टेंजिबल भी नहीं होता. ठीक है, छोड़ दिया किसी ने तो कैसे आप बताओगे कि मैंने दिलाई थी नौकरी. तो जो टेंजिबल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, जो लोगों को रोज आते जाते दिखेगा, रेलवे स्टेशन, लाइब्रेरी, म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन की बिल्डिंग, थिएटर्स, ओपेरा हाउसेस, ये जो सारा चीजें था. सो बुफार्ट मूवमेंट था वेयर these public buildings were made extremely decorated and very large and very grand in a way to invite people and make them realize what the power of the government and what the power of people in power is. Okay, so these big opera houses with big chandeliers and grand staircases and very big, so very huge buildings with domes and statues and decoration. So ये सब classical style में this Buffart movement was a parallel movement to what industrial revolution and art nouveau और ये सब जो चल रहा था, ये भी एक timeline है जो parallel चल रही थी. ठीक है, बट इन अ डिफरेंट पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. सो यूएस में आप देखोगे कि ये जो कैपिटल बिल्डिंग, म्यूजियम्स और पेंसिल्वेनिया स्टेशन, ऑल ऑफ दीज आर बिग बिग बिल्डिंग्स. हमारे यहाँ पे भी. सो आई लिव इन मुंबई एंड इफ यू लुक एट द सीएसटी स्टेशन, राइट, वीटी स्टेशन या विक्टोरिया टर्मिनस जिसको कहते हैं, आर्ट डेको बिल्डिंग है, यूनेस्को हेरिटेज साइट. स्टेशन को इतना सजाने का क्या जरूरत है? बट समथिंग दैट पीपल आर गोइंग टू गो इन एंड आउट ऑन अ डेली बेसिस, द शेयर ग्रैंडनेस कि ये सब मेरे लिए बनाए हैं, that is something that binds or attracts them to the government or makes them feel okay, they have done something, right? So these are all things that are done to lure people to your side, and that is what Buffard movements in a very very big way did in US. And you will see that Daniel Burnham, then Louis Sullivan, they were involved in commercial architecture in a very big way, utilizing the new material and also keeping the classical style possible, and involved in a lot of commercial structures, office structures, railway stations. So a lot of skyscrapers were built in this particular period of time, and Louis Sullivan and Daniel Burnham were one of the few people who were very, very involved in this kind of an architecture, right? So these two guys, big contributors. There were other people also. These guys, so Louis Sullivan was somebody who was very active in Chicago, and there were a group of people who were active in Chicago at in the same period of time, and that is why they were called Chicago School architects, who had the same kind of thought process and were working on similar kind of design and architectural movement का part थे वो. तो उनको सबको शिकागो ग्रुप और शिकागो स्कूल ऑफ आर्किटेक्ट्स बुलाया जाता है. उनमें से लुई सलिवन वाज वन ऑफ देम. ओके, then there are a lot of isms in modern architecture as well. So functionalism, minimalism, cubism, pointillism, dadaism, constructivism, expressionism, deconstructivism, बहुत सारे isms हैं which have their own philosophies, their own examples, their own architects that have worked on them. And in modern architecture, you will see कि पहले जैसे classical style में ना, you will be able to say that okay, this particular person या this particular era of architecture had similar sort of buildings. But when you will come to modern architecture, you will see कि similar time zone में, अलग-अलग states में, अलग-अलग countries में, अलग-अलग type का architecture parallelly evolve हो रहा था. And that is why people who could afford to travel or had exposure to world news, they were experimenting with styles that they had developed and also things that other people had worked with. So somebody like a Lee Corp, आपको उनके एग्जाम्पल्स ब्रूटलिज्म में भी दिखेंगे. आपके उनको वो ऐसा नहीं है कि उन्होंने हमेशा he has only worked in brutalism. He has already also worked with international style. He has also worked with functionalism. So सब में उन्होंने जो भी उनको पता चलता गया वो सब में उन्होंने अपने हाथ पैर मारे. So they've experimented and they've worked in different styles. So modern architecture does not put you in a box and say that this is my style and this is how I'm going to work. Of course, all of these guys have a signature style which helps us identify कि ये किसका building है. ठीक है? पर apart from that, there is no set ism or set era that they were active in, right? A set kind of style that they were active in. So cubism, Jesse, just before the World War, you could see that something that looked like a cube and a box and very repetitive, very sort of regular and symmetrical was something that was taking place and working. Straight cut lines and very sharp, clear, all of those kinds of things. Reinforced concrete usage. This is also looked at as the birth spot of deconstructivism because high use of reinforced concrete. So in Czech, Netherlands, Germany, France, अलग-अलग देशों में अलग-अलग activity, अलग-अलग development हो रहा था depending on which society was working with what kind of materials and at what developmental stage they were. Experimentative था, developing था. If you look at 1912, हमारे पास तो ये सब experiment करने को time भी नहीं था. ठीक है, ऑनेस्टली 1912 में वी वर स्ट्रगलिंग फॉर आवर इंडिपेंडेंस एंड एवरीथिंग. तो हमारे यहाँ जो ब्रिटिश बना रहे थे, जो उनका क्लासिकल स्टाइल था, वही बिल्डिंग बनता था. लेटर ऑन वी हैड मोर एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन. सो फिर वी हैव अ पार्लियामेंट्री बिल्डिंग विच इज इन इंटरनेशनल स्टाइल. सो ये सब डिपेंड्स ऑन विच, हर कंट्री में क्या चल रहा है, उनका गवर्नमेंटल लाइफ सोसाइटल स्टेज क्या है. ठीक है. D-Still is another thing that came from art. So, if you have taken architecture exams, usme, at least when I appeared for one, there used to be a question in AIEEE and NATA where you had to use 3-4 shapes and make a composition and then color it in shades and tones and hues and everything. तो ये जो प्राइमरी बेसिक वो होता है, compositions होते हैं, primary shapes और primary colors थे. This is what had given birth to D-Still, right? So if you look at both the examples, बहुत primary colors, straight cut lines, basic shapes का use किया है. I always say Redwell Schroeder house looks like a primitive SketchUp model. The first time that somebody looks at a SketchUp, there are, I don't know if you guys have even used SketchUp, बहुत कुछ आ गया है तो, but जब हम primitively SketchUp हमको कॉलेज में सिखाते थे, तो this is what something that we came up with. Rectangle, vertical rectangle, horizontal rectangle, thin rectangle, fat rectangle. So this is how it looks like, right? Push, pull, basic functions. So yeah, these are the kind of various styles that kept evolving through painting, through sculpting. जैसे pointillism एक style है. That is actually a style in painting or a movement in painting that was translated to architecture. Expressionism is a movement in painting that was translated into architecture. So these are all the different things that happened in art and influenced architecture. जैसे ये है Pablo Picasso's creations were cubism. उनका जो आर्ट फॉर्म है, if you have looked at Picasso's paintings, आपको दिखेगा कि बहुत blocked paintings होते हैं उनके. You can see color blocking, you can see shape blocking. So cubism is something that they influenced, right? So yes, I think that is what I wanted to accustom you with in. So this is the kind of lecture delivery it will be. This is how the lecture looks. This is how it is taught. And this is how we go on. So generally I take history in a timeline. So from the point where we began as Homo sapiens to the time that we are today in contemporary architecture, we have a timeline that I've designed and we go through that and we take Indian and Western history parallelly so that we can draw parallels into what was happening in our country and was something similar happening in the Western world? And if not, how was it different? So that is easy for us to digest, register, and also make informed guesses if you don't have the right pinpointed answer. Okay, so I think I'll rest my demo here, and I hope that it was a fun 30-40 minutes that we had together.